New government data reveals the U.S. economy saw a major surge for the third quarter of 2025. Gross domestic product increased 4.3%. This was the highest jump in 2 years. Despite this, Americans remain uneasy about the economy. The Consumer Confidence Index fell 3.8 points for the month of December. That's the lowest it's been since April, when the president rolled out his sweeping tariffs plan. CBS News MoneyWatch correspondent Kelly O'Grady joins me now. So, Kelly, let's start with the GDP. What do you make of that number?
So first and foremost, this is a backward-looking number. Remember that this number was delayed from the government shutdown, and it is the first of 3 estimates that we're going to get when it comes to third quarter GDP. So it looks at July through September. So again, we're at the end of the year here. That people were spending back July through September, but what does that mean for the fourth quarter? I think the 4.3% is really strong, though. So that is a very good sign, because you go back to the beginning of the year, we were talking about it. Remember, we had negative GDP quarter growth.
Yep.
And so if you think, though...
Talk about the R word.
Yeah, right, exactly. We were talking about a recession possibly, which never came to fruition, which is a great thing. But then you think about what's going to happen in the fourth quarter, and that is when we had the government shutdown. So you aren't going to see as strong growth. So I think when we think about GDP and economic growth for the year, you have to look at it at that full 12-month sort of breadth. And it's likely going to be around 2% for the year as a whole. So still strong, but not at that 4.3%.
What role does tariffs have?
So the president said that this is all because of tariffs. And in some respects, he's right. So the way that you calculate GDP is there are 2 components that are part of it. It's imports and exports. When you have really high imports, that counts against your GDP. And that's exactly what we saw in the first 3 quarters of the year, when people were trying to get all the product in again ahead of those tariffs hitting. This time around, though, you saw exports really high. Remember, we have a lot of trade deals, a lot of countries committing to buying U.S. goods. So that's one piece of it. The other side of it, though, is that consumer spending jumped 3.5%. The second quarter was 2.5%. Everyone was celebrating about that. So it shows that even with tariffs and people concerned about higher prices, they are still spending.
But let's talk about consumer confidence, because this is one of those reports where perception often becomes reality.
Right. That's why we look at it. If people are not feeling good, maybe they don't spend. We haven't seen that come to fruition yet, though we do know the higher income folks are doing the heavy lifting. My big thing is, how did the holidays turn out? And then are people able to pay their bills if they're putting it on credit cards come January?
Okay, we'll be watching for that. Kelly O'Grady, thank you.